This stunning dragon scale stitch looks complicated, but it's actually a simple repeating pattern. In this tutorial, I'll walk you through it step by step so you can crochet it with confidence. It's perfect for scarves, bags, and blankets. Let's take a closer look. You will need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle or a darning needle, or you can just weave in your ends with your hook. I also have some stitch markers handy, but safety pins also work, and I will be using Caron Simply Soft Paints yarn in Oceania. And of course, I will need a hook. For this stitch, we need to work in multiples of 6 plus 4. I will be doing 120 chains for my multiple, plus 4 for a total of 124. All right, I have 120 chains. I need 124. I just put a stitch marker right there to remind me of where that stitch is. And I will do 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the first or the last 3 stitches here actually count as my first double crochet. So I want to do another double crochet in the 121 for me, but basically you leave those 3 stitches, 3 chains as your first double crochet, and then you chain the next double crochet into the 4th one from the end. Okay, and then you are going to do 1 chain, and then you're going to skip 2 stitches. So I'll have to skip that one, and in the next one I am going to do another double crochet. All right, and then I'm going to chain another one, and again I'm going to skip 2 chains at the bottom. So you're always going to chain 1 in between on the top, but you're going to skip 2 at the bottom. So I'm going to skip those 2, and in this one I now want to do a double crochet and another double crochet. All right, let's repeat that again. So we've got it. So now I need to do a chain, and I've just done 2 double crochets. Now 1 chain on top, and you skip 2 chains at the bottom. So I'm in that chain, 1, 2, this is the 3rd one, and I'm going to do a double crochet, and then 1 chain on top, and skip 2 chains on the bottom. 1, 2, into that 3rd one. Whoops. Yarn over, go through, yarn over, come through, yarn over, through 2, and through 2. And 1 more. And now I just, keep repeating that pattern right through to the end. All right, so now is where things get a little interesting. It can feel clumsy at first, so just take your time and we'll work through this together. So what I want to do now is to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, which is going to count once again as my first double crochet. Now I'm going to do 4 more double crochets. I'm going to yarn over, but I'm going to work this around this double crochet. So I'm going to call that a post. So I'm going to yarn over and go around, yarn over and come through, yarn over, go through 2 and go through 2. So just a double crochet. We're just doing it around that post stitch right there. And I am going to do 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. So what I in effect have is 4 double crochets. The first 3 chains count as a double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, sorry, 5. I have 5 in total. 4 double crochets and then that chain that we did. So 5 double crochets in effect. Then I am going to chain 1. Now you're going to want to kind of turn your work so that you can isolate this next double crochet post, because we are going to do 5 double crochets around that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the first time we did this, the first 3 chains counted as a double crochet, but we've got 5 double crochets, a chain, and 5 double crochets. Now to make this easier, I want to take this, I'll call it a scale, yep, this scale, and I want to anchor it to that standalone double crochet on the previous row. So I am just going to slip stitch it. Actually, it's easier if the yarn is on that side. So I'm just going to slip stitch it into the top of that standalone double crochet on the previous row. Now we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to turn my work so the scale is up and my next 2 double crochets are right here. And I'm going to use this one as my next post. And I'm going to yarn over, go through, yarn over, and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets, and then 1 chain. And I need to find my next post. So now I'm going to turn my scale down and I'm going to isolate that next post, yarn over, go through, whoops, go through, yarn over, and do my next 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now I have completed 2 scales. Now slip stitch that finished scale into the top of that standalone double crochet and then start on your next scale and repeat to the end. All right, and once again we will end with a scale in those last 2 double crochet posts from the previous round. So I will just finish off the final scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and a chain. And then I'll put that scale down and there is my last post. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I always want to end with a scale. So in order to do that for the next row, and so that my scales overlap, so that I have a scale coming down in between these 2 scales, what I will do right now is chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and I will put a double crochet right into the center, right there. I will chain 1 and I will put another double crochet in there. Okay, now I need to explain this. So what I have here is these 2 are going to be, these 2 right here are going to be the ones I will work around to create my last scale on this row. This will be my stand-alone crochet. So now I want the next scale to wrap around 2 posts right in between these 2 scales. So I'm going to chain, and then I'm going to put 2 double crochets into the top of this single crochet that was in that row before we worked the scales. Now I can easily find that because that's where I slip stitched into. So I will put 2 double crochets right there. Now these will be the 2 posts that I will work around when I come back to make a scale, and it will drape in between those 2 scales. So now I want to do a chain, and then I am going to work single or standalone double crochets in the center of those scales, chain, and then 2 double crochets into that spot where I slip stitched the last time, and then a chain, and then a double crochet that will stand alone in the center of that scale. That's how we are going to work this next row. I have come to the last 2 double crochets into that space between the 2 scales. Now I need to finish this over here, and I want a scale to overlap right here, so I need one over here. So I am going to do my chain, and then I am going to put a single or an individual double crochet right in that gap of the scale, and then over here at the end I am going to put where we had those 3 chains at the end of the last row, I am going to put 1, 2 double crochets. So now I will start to do a scale right in there. So to start that scale, I will do the same as we did before. I will do 3 chains, which will count as 1 double crochet, and then I will do 4 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 1. I'm going to turn my work. Oops, sorry, I hit the camera. Okay, turn my work, and then I am going to do another, whoops, I did not yarn over, 5 double crochets in onto the next post. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then where I did this standalone double crochet, I will make sure I got that correct. I'll slip stitch that, and there we go. We have started to overlap those scales, and I will continue to do that all the way to the end. All right, I've come to the end of my row, and this was the row that we started with 3 chains and then 2 double crochets. So how I need to end this is in that first double crochet, I am going to slip stitch my scale into that, and then I am going to use this next double crochet as my first post. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and chain 1. Now my next post is those 3 chains that we started off that row with. So this time I am going to do just 4 double crochets, and I'll show you why in a minute. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to finish off this row, I need to get back to the center of that scale. So I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to slip stitch that right into that opening between the scales, and that will start the next round. All right, so for my next row, I want my scale, my first scale, to line up with the scale right here that we did, the very first scale that we did. So I need to put two double crochets right in between these 2 scales. So in order for me to get over there, I am going to chain 2. All right, and then I am going to move my slip stitch, because I slip stitched into the top of that standalone crochet right there from the previous row. So I am going to just put a slip stitch in here. And now I need to have 2 double crochets here, but the first one will be 3 chains to count as the double crochet, and then I will put a double crochet in. So those are going to be the 2 posts that we are going to work this scale that aligns with this one the next time. So it'll be right in between those 2 scales. Now I need to do a chain in between, and then I just put 1 double crochet on this row in that gap of the scale. All right, and then a chain, and then I will look for that slip stitch again. Here's my stitch right there, and I am going to put 2 double crochets right into that spot. I'm going to chain 1, put a double crochet into the scale gap, chain 1, look for my top of that standalone crochet that I slip stitched into. Oh, I'm getting tangled. Put 2 double crochets in there, chain 1, put a standalone double crochet into that scale center, chain 1, and then put 2 double crochets in between the 2 scales and chain 1. All right, I've just moved in a little bit closer here because this is our next row. We will go right to the end like that. So this time we want the 2 double crochets in between the previous row's scales, and we want the standalone double crochet to go into the gap of the next scale. So 2 in between the 2 scales and 1 in the gap of the scale. All right, I am just about done this row. I just have to do my 2 double crochets in between my last 2 scales, and then I will start on my next set of scales. So to do that, we start with the chain of 3, and that counts as the first double crochet. So into the gap, I will do 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and chain 1. Then I'll turn my work, and there's my next post. I am back at the end of the row and I have 2 posts left. Now to finish off this round, it is the same as this round down here. So let's finish that. I am going to turn my work and I'm going to do my 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my 1 chain, turn my work, and now I need to do the next double crochets. All right, I have 5 more double crochets to go to finish off this round. Whoops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the next row, we've already done this row, but I'm just going to give you a reminder. This is the one where we did the 3 chains, and then we did a double crochet into the center of the scale. Then I need to do a chain, and I need to do another double crochet into the center of that scale, and then a chain. And now this time I want my 2 double crochets in between those 2 scales. So we're going to go 1. Oh, did I get the right spot? Nope, not quite. So 1, 2, chain 1, and this time I just want 1 standalone double crochet. Oh, sorry, I'm getting tangled here. 1 standalone double crochet in the center of that scale. All right, so let's review that. This is the row where we want to have the scale in between these 2 because it needs to line up with that one. So this is the row where this will be a scale, this will be the standalone, and then you will end over here with these 2 will be your posts. Thank you for watching, and remember, just keep creating.